Gonna check in on more of the baboon. Yes, that's right. He's an ass, but we love him as the one and only Marine Lord. On board with Beastie again. But this time they've gone up against a slippery sausage and his friendly little German. That's right. Zertan and Salami are going to be their competitor this time in Dry Arabia for a 2v2. Let's set it up. Because it looks like we are going to get Mongols on both sides, but then we get the 100-Year War clash on the other, as we're going to have Salami whipping out the English that he loves to do so frequently. But there is going to be the Frenchman on the French. Baboon, aka Marine Lord. I think we will just go on Baboon from now on there. He's playing as the French, so he should be able to be like mid-map pace setter. Depends on what the comps are going to be coming out from the Mongol players. It's interesting to think about whether the Mongol players are more boomy or if you can even have a boomer. Because I think that's a very big difference from 3v3s to 2v2s. Is in 3v3s, you usually can have a player that like looks to inflate. In 2v2s, I think you both have to be dedicated to the cause, right? And I'd actually argue that when you look at the 3v3s we've seen in the last few days, I'd say a lot of them, it's still the player that the team that has a boomer tends to lose unless there's a very specific timing, like you're an 8-cherry player, for example. If you're not participating in the aggro of the mid-game, you're throwing away a lot. And potentially you're throwing a teammate under the bus, which we've seen time and time again. Anyway, let's check these openings. Looks like we might be getting insta-deer out of Beastie, which I like. I think this map's big enough and you're up against English, so not going to rush you, right? And also it's a Mongol player. So there's nothing here that rushes you. It's not like when there's a French player on the other side and he hits his timing and there's the knight running across instantly. It's going to take about 1.5 times longer for the longbows to get across the map. So we'll see if he wants to go instantly onto deer. Because alternatively, he could have been using this Gur to pick up some sheep, but I think he already lapped around the south side, so there wasn't much value in the area. Even on the other side, there's going to be a Rax opening coming from Zertan. This is something that you can get away with quite easy peasy. And the reason that you haven't seen it on the other side... Oh, wait, you are going to see it on the other side. Okay. I was going to say, the reason why you wouldn't necessarily see it on the other side from Beastie is you're up against an English player. So spamming spears, not so good for the long-term success when longbows come out. But if he stops at maybe 4 or 5, maybe tries for a cheeky outpost, not the worst of ideas, especially considering that Zertan set up a forward Uvu plus Rax. If you find a way of dropping an outpost here, you could block him off from trickling out these reinforcements. Mongol plus French kind of strong in 2v2. I think it's strong as an opener because of what we just mentioned, right? Like when you have Mongol plus French, you know, one covers spears, one covers knights, so you've got the premium and then you've got the counter. Like it's quite a nice comp to run. And also the Mongol player sets the early tone in a location and the French player follows up. The English, by comparison with Mongols, is delayed because they need that feudal age before the English player can participate. The difference is that, for example, when you have like both players have both sides have Mongols, right? So the Mongols are going to be then Dark Age. But the difference is once we crack feudal on these French and English players, the French player is going to be able to participate in aggressive actions much quicker than the English player. The English player, although he has a potentially stronger point a few minutes into that feudal age, the initial phase, getting in position, these type of details can set you back. Because let's say they don't clash and Salami rushes towards Beastie's base and Marine Lord rushes towards Zertan's base. Marine Lord is going to arrive at Zertan's base a lot quicker. It's going to be a lot more fluid in what he does upon arrival. I think that's the best way to think about it. Calming opening. I'm tempted to, like, in future, just kind of fast forward some of these early games, but I don't think you have to. Not when this is happening. We talked about the outpost drop. It's underway. And Zertan, now this is the issue. This timing was perfect. Beastie waited until he saw the spears and the Khan approach the base of Marine Lord, and then he went in, knowing that there wouldn't be enough spears to defend. And if you run them back, they're not going to be able to get here in time to stop the outpost. Great read by Beastie. Does mean that Marine Lord is being sacrificed. He's not getting gold anymore, but he did get enough for one knight. Alternatively, he can just go wheelbarrow and go into the archery range. Meantime, on the other side, this has a knock-on effect, by the way. Remember, it's a Mongol player now attacking a Mongol player. Zertan's going to want to replace this loss. That's going to be 150 wood. But in the process of losing it, he's going to have paid 50 resources, rather, over to Beastie, which we're about to see. In fact, if he gets another Spearman out here, he could body block the Rax when it packs up to run away. I think you can maybe do it. Yeah, you can do it now. You've got enough. 7 units is more than enough to just wrap around Iraq's and stop it. There you go. Payday. Cha-ching. Now, if he gets on the north side of this Rax, he can block it from packing up and moving away. Yeah, you can see he just starts stepping along. He doesn't want to waste time missing out torches, and there it is, the pack up. Immediately, you just can wrap around and grab it. It's a bit awkward to click initially, but once he gets the staggered formation, and then he wraps around again. So you want to stagger, and then, yeah, beautiful. So what he done there, Beastie, he uses staggered formation, and then clicks on it, and then cancels staggered formation. So when they regroup, they block the Rax, and that's just going to be a loss for Zertan. Great play by Beastie. The calm will at least move away. Oh, he will get forced to clash here. But gets it again. Dude, he's so quick. So quick to get back on top of it. And now you just commit. Like, sure, you maybe lose a spearman or two. Dude, he even turns a few spears around to attack in return. So he'll beat out the spears coming at him. But he won't get the Rax because the longbows arrived just in time from Salami. So good reactions out of the sausage man. But now, think about what just happened here. The English player got forced to react to the north side of the map defensively. So if he ever wanted to aggro the Mongol player, like was probably the original plan, he's further away from doing so. And you don't want to aggro the French player because the French player will just ignore you, go past with the knights, and cleave you down. So what's their next kind of condition? Well, now the script kind of switches a bit, especially with this choice to go into the Silver Tree. Silver Tree that we didn't get out of Beastie, so he's in on an earlier timing. So now the goal for Salami is to guard Zertan's potential trade play. Might even be that he's guarding him to go for a quick castle age. There's definitely a decent trade route in here because if you notice this wood line, and this is a cool thing to note for Dry Arabia and why Silver Tree is pretty good, is usually you'll have wood lines that are beneficial to kind of buffering your trade route. So let's say you set up the Silver Tree here, or there's a choke point at the beginning, your base blocks the ford, and then there's another small wood line before you reach the neutral trade. Oh no, he found the other river. Okay, where are the longbows right now? Because they're on a coffee break. Oh, the knight keeps them at bay. And this is so frustrating. So remember what we said before? 150 wood so far. Well, now it's going to be 300 wood. Now it's going to be an extra 100 resources given across the Beastie on top of that instead of the 50 before. This is the thing about Mongol matchups. When they're on both sides, like any small loss snowballs very heavily. The only upside is at least the longbows here poking and prodding, so spearman count will slowly go down. But he will torch it, so gets 25 food and gob. Make his way out. Knights will have to limp away. And behind this, we do see Marine Lord now going in for the secondary TC. Interesting detail here, actually. He didn't even clean up the outpost. He just moved away from it. This is pretty peculiar out of a French player, actually. He's not even caring about the gold at all. Because this is all of his gold. This was a premium outpost drop for certain because it blocked out both gold sources. But he seems to have zero interest in going for gold. He's going to mass horsemen, archers, and look to eco up as the French, as opposed to maybe thinking about a quicker castle timing or mass knights. Salami. We talked about this delay. He finally moves towards the Mongol base, but like, what do you do at this stage? You also still have issues at home. It feels like it's still Salami's job to guard Zertan's trade setup. And you can see the problem here. Beastie, oh, you slivery snake. That was his outpost. We didn't even mention that. He set up his own outpost here. So you can't trade. And he's going to set up another one in the corner. Oh, man. Zertan, he can't go trade. I actually don't think you can go trade this game. You're up against French knights, and you've also got enemies with outposts behind you. You're going to have to torch those down, which means you're going to have to invest in more spearmen. Now, the good news, at least, is he went double rack, so he'll be able to do exactly that. That's the only thing he can do right now. Meanwhile, on the base of Beastie, he was pushed off the deer. But I think, yeah, he went west side, so he's on the berries. I wondered where they went for a second. Didn't really get many sheep. Doesn't want to have to go to the pastures too early. What Beastie wants is a quick castle age timing. I thought this was coming when I saw the lack of troops, and we can definitely get confirmation of that. So, quick tick up into the step readout. At which stage, you know, Zertan, he was trying to follow suit here, but he went for the Silver Tree. He lost the initial clash, and he got forced to invest in more spears. That's why he's behind. Not to mention the pastures, right? This is another big difference. Because this side has a French player, and this is why I really like the French-Mongol opening, right, is that if the other side has a Mongol as well, but they have something like the English, you're more likely to have to turtle to be defensive because your army isn't fluid. We mentioned this already, but a knock-on effect of that is that you can't stop raids. French knights will always look to raid here, which is why Zertan, instead of going onto deer patches or berries, something that wouldn't cost him wood to get access to, he had to go for condensed pastures. Pastures that, by the way, aren't even on Nuvu, so he doesn't even get the increased production rate on sheep, which means he needs to build more of them, which is another heavy wood investment. That's why his timing is so much slower. Timing that I think he's about to start as the tech up's going to complete for Beastie. And looking at the stone, they both hoarded for this, so there will be initial lances coming out, and edge will be given over to Beastie. Salami, I think he's looking to get greedy too. Now remember, Marine Lord will be slow on his tech up timing because he only just got access to the gold again. And he did go for the double TC, but because he went onto the deer, if he wants, he can rush to castle to match the timing that now Salami's looking to hit. Very calm start to this game now. I say start, calm after the initial start, right? A little bit of a bloodbath to begin with, and now everyone's set back and said, okay, neither side has a clear momentous lead right now. Let's just chill. And oh god, he got another outpost up on the wood line. And that's a Spruilin placement. And Zertan hasn't even noticed yet. This is brilliant, actually. I think Beastie, what he's doing, he's intentionally targeting with the Khan so that when these alerts come out for Zertan, he thinks it's the Khan attacking him and doesn't realize it's the Springald until he's lost a few villages. Well, the only upside is this outpost over here was upgraded with archers, so there won't be Springald shots taking out the initial traders. I say that. Oh god, it still gets one of them. I mean, this is so worth, right? So another thing to keep in mind is, you know, yeah, you could get paid a little bit in return, but this is like 150 resource investment plus the arrow slits. You already killed one trader worth 120. Sorry, 90, because yeah, it's the silver tree. And on top of that, you killed a few villagers. Like, this villager that was running around being a complete pain in the ass has paid for himself, truly. I don't know where he went now, though. I guess he died. Because I can't find him anywhere. But just look at how many outposts he set up. The vision alone is so valuable here. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that Marine Lord and Beastie have 3/4 of the map under their control. It might even be 4/5. Maybe 5/5. This is hard to answer right now. Salami, he's going up the white tower. And the timing! Beastie gets in. He spots it out. He says, Lamau, what's this you're building? This doesn't look like an eco boom. Have you never heard of greed? I mean, he's dealing with double knights right now. And the problem he has is this Mongol player who teched up hasn't contributed anything yet. Because he got crippled on the trade initially. Outside of the initial shutdown, the gold vein, the French, Zern's impact has been minimal in this game. His spearmen have to defend his base, which means that Salami has to cover his tech up, his farm boom, and protect himself against the night raids all at the same time. I think this is where they could just double down towards him. I mean, spearman counters at 6. Realistically, if Salami and Marine Lord want, if Marine Lord and Beastie rather wanted, they could just swarm him. This many spear wouldn't win. Instead, they're just taking their time. They're picking them apart because they know if they just keep these knights alive, they'll get added pressure long-term out of this. And it almost feels like you've got one foot in the grave admitting defeat when you have to build a white tower like this as the English. It just doesn't feel good unless you've already built a secondary TC. Is that it? Oh, he's being wrapped on. It's the Yam on the front line. Okay, look at the proximity towards each player's base. There is no world in which the yellow Mongol player should be the one with the Yam. Zertan doesn't have Yam at all, remember, because he went for Silver Tree. He hasn't built a single outpost. He doesn't even have the defensive maneuverability that the Mongols are usually given because of this. And it means if he missteps in any of these fights, he's going to lose the entire army. In fact, he might lose it now. This is a bad fight to take. Archers are going to start sniping out the spears. Wraparound coming in. Defense arrow is going to be used, which is why you'll see Baboon will delay the fight. And now that reinforcements arrive, Marine Lord will commit fully. Knights spread out. Spearman count is quickly shrinking. And the bait, the peel off to the side by Beastie, just dragging away the additional spears, should allow the archers to clean up most of the green ones. Knights will cycle around, but now they can make their way back into the economy. And while that's happening, well, Beastie says that's an opportunity. He goes back into the Mongol base, says there's going to be only one Mongol. And it sure as hell ain't you. This is just really good raiding. Double raiding power just coming into effect. And the problem is, like, you know, there's a world in which Salami and Zertan could have done this as well, but theirs is so much more delayed. They both require Castle Age, and the complementary thing about the French is they start raiding in Feudal, and these raider units will scale. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing a tech up soon out of Marine Lord. He's got plenty of wood to work with, so I think he's going to sort the farm transition first. But after that, we're probably looking at Royal Institute, at which stage you don't really have the aura spread out as the Mongol or English player to combat that. Speaking of his auras, they're going to try to remove some of it. This Yam's still a nuisance. I think Zertan's going to have to accept he needs to get rid of the towers first, not the lances. Walls are now going to be going up. So Marine Lord going to make sure no counter raids come in anytime soon as he continues to play pocket ecos. This Night Master is still pretty threatening in the mid-map, and it looks like we are going to see a play into Relics out of Beastie. He also went for the second TC. It's classic Beastie. Turns the screws on you, forces you to overreact, and then double dips his hand into the cookie jar. He was offered one, but he says, I'm going to take two. And the two here is Relics plus the town center. All of that while no pressure on him. Perfect situation for the Mongol player in the south. Flash in the center. Trying to prevent the sacred sites from being captured here. They don't want to give more gold over. Just too many Royal Knights, though, even for these Castle Age Lancers. It's just, if you go for a charge and that bonus damage comes out, it's still going to be a pretty even fight in even numbers. But considering that the French still have mass over you, your Lancers will get wiped. Looks like Zertan's finally had enough. He says, I want my wood line back, please. Oh, the spears. Nice little play there, actually coming out of Beastie. Just maximizing the damage he's going to do instead of waiting for the outpost to finish being torched. And then these spearmen coming out to their immediate death. Well, that's happening on the other side. It looks like it's starting to feel like an all-in type moment for Salami. He needs maximum impact. But you see Beastie instantly involves the villagers in the fight here. Everyone's willing to participate. And the Shaman healing. You have to snipe them right now. Defense arrow is going to come out to make that even more difficult here. Looks like they are prioritizing healing on the Lancers, but that's going to be fine because now with all the spears gone, you're just going to run down the Lombos. So Salami's now going to lose the army. He's going to need a transition. If he just goes spears and Lombos again, he's going to be back at square one. Marine Lord. Oh, God. Well, you just lost an army on the egress, so you're rebuilding it at home, right? Good luck rebuilding it if you start dying one by one like this. Luckily for him, Marine Lord is more interested in pivoting north first, but if he'd gone straight into the wood line, that would have been a massacre. Lancers are going to be kept at bay, but still the issue is the French. The French that should be approaching tech up. Yeah, there you go. So with the Royal Institute down, the Royal Bloodlines, it's just 50 seconds away. At which stage, I don't think they have anything to beat these Knights. They need a lot more spears. Oh god, speak the Knights, they're in straight away. Idle and Eco sniping out a few villages. Now remember, this hurts. This hurts a lot because Salami is still just 1 TC. So any losses really do add up. In fact, oh my god. Have we reached this point of desperation? Was he really going trade as the English? I mean, folks, that says everything you need to about this game. That's when things kind of look chalked. Night Clash is going to come out. Royal Bloodlines should be kicking in any second now. Yeah, and you're going to see the delay come out. Marine Lord is going to buy a few more seconds. At which point he'll be willing to turn around for the Clash, even though he is outnumbered. In fact, what is Beastie doing behind this? So he's got central control. Okay, so this will be the play. Marine Lord is going to try to get out here. He's going to discover that he can't, and he'll probably have to take the fight. In an ideal world, Marine Lord gets out of here, goes back to Beastie's location, and then heals up with all these shamans, then goes back in at full health. But instead, he realizes he can't make his way out this way. He has to click around, which means he's going to be diving past the White Tower. Also, keep in mind, Salami did snake his way onto Imperial Age off the back of this. So losing the Knight Army and resetting like this is pretty crippling, actually, for Marine Lord. In fact, if we look at his count, yeah, he's gone full Arbitratrier now. So this was the last of the Knights going down, and he did invest in Royal Bloodlines alongside that, so heavy investment for little return. And by the way, the reason he's going Arbitratrier is now that they see Imp Age hits, Salami's escalation is going to be slow. Windguard armies don't build fast. On top of that, he full switches into Arbitratrier because they have a static defense now. They want the sacred sites, and the cool thing about this is now, if this is your priority, you know, you're getting better savings. Arbor Trade cost a lot less than Knights, it's half the price. Means you should be able to potentially reach Imperial Age. If you reach Imperial Age, you can drop the Red Palace on one of these sacred sites, and that's all but going to guarantee that your opponents can never decap. Yes. So for those wondering, you can garrison 20 in the White Tower. It's specific to the White Tower, and oh god, you know, I mentioned that White Tower zone. It says, "Oh, build White Tower, get me out." GG's gonna get called. They realize what's coming to their base. The mass of Lancers. Sure, you saw the Knights go down from Marine Lord, but behind this, Beastie was a slivery snake that was building up an unbeatable force.